Husyurm Chibuch Riux was Chibo Gizi Zimiz Rafi Urizixis Ga Alnu Hus. I'm not so used to saying the Lizabim chant for the Comet Tsuchinshan RC 2023 A3 event, but that is the chant. If you have any impressions before I start to give some meaning that I have for it.
Feel a little excitement, this comet coming up. It's a special day, it's on a special day. So, yeah, well, I'll say that.
Well, it peaks because of its closeness to the sun on Saturday, but it becomes more visible for the probably the 13th is going to be the most visible, and the 14th is going to be in a position easier to see, in the 15th, and then after that it's going to start to notably start to loosen its brightness. But some people have said that it's already brighter than Hale-Bopp as far as what we see from Earth, so it could very easily become the comet event of over a century. So but the interesting thing here that we run across is there's the Economist magazine from 2016. It actually, the graphic that you see before contains a sigil that I got for the event, but this magazine, but the base thing, which I'm not showing the whole thing, you have the Tower, the Judgment, the World, the Hermit, Death, the Magician, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Star. And the Star is the most interesting thing because this was 7 years before this comet was allegedly seen. So predicting that the comet would be seen in a space between 10 white stars and 14 yellow stars is, I think they knew before they knew that this comet was going to happen. And you see that, like, they had some sort of prediction that you could relate to it. And so, their death card is nuclear war. Their tower card is, again, end times war between, the different sides here. And so they've had plans to stir things up. And now they have Trump sitting the thing. It says the world in 2017, but it really kind of relates to that. So what would be, let's just say the 13th, because they've been saying the 13th for the thing. So the tarot card for the day in the tarot card calendar that I look at is Sunday would, of course, be the sun. And the sun is a symbolism of basically the innocent joy, the innocent. It doesn't mean you can't have the full thing of life, but one of the lessons is you have maturity and then you attain to everything. And I mean that you're to attain. So it's not that you're liberated and miserable in life until you die and you give it all up and that sort of stuff. That's not the thing. I mean, you can go through difficulty or whatnot. So, but so it's the cooling quarter of the year. So we have the Ace and the Princess of Cups.
Okay.
And, every card's a good card and a bad card. But, so we have the, well, I mean, I'm releasing this video on the 13th. So this would definitely make sense. And I'm listening to this on a Sunday. And so obviously this is like the emotion or the unconscious or sort of thing. So you have the general sphere of things is like the space, you could say, for the aces, or maybe just everything you're going to represent under that category. And the princess, you know, is princesses are potential cards.
Mhm.
And so there's potential to receive, potential to give in terms of feelings or emotions or whatever, or maybe something you're not quite aware with that people need to deal with. And anybody who hears this, you know, you can hear that and like take a lesson without thinking that unnecessarily there's specifically a message for somebody out here who's going to hear this and I want you, you know, and whoever figures that out should donate $1,000 to the following account. And here's the accounts in the description. Don't worry, you won't miss it. That sort of thing. And you have the Hanged Man card. The Hangman card. You're reminded of different themes for different cultures depending on how it's depicted. But it's sort of you willingly go to the sacrifice, but the sacrifice through the sacrifice you attain the knowledge, you attain for yourself the position, and so there's that, and so those are the three season cards, as you could call them, and the month cards. Well, you would have, you would have a prince, and the prince would be of wands, and the other card for the month would be the hermit. And that's something that people are missing more than anything right now is that hermetic sense of things. They're so interested in the very dry letter of things. Even if they have a spiritual teaching, they're like nothing else of it. Now we were talking earlier, not in this program, but we were talking earlier about how somebody was, it's like their interpretation of what they were imposing, which wasn't the right approach, was they approaching some interpretation of that passage that wasn't, you know, it's like if that's an issue that some people have too. So again, every card's not a good card or a bad card, and that hermit, again, you're seeking. There's multiple sides to things, and you're seeking that inner connection, that spiritual connection to things. And since it's the Virgo card, there's purity to it. Because everything in life worth doing, it can be part of one's spiritual life. The consciousness, the principles involved. It's not that things are whatever. And like both the Vaishnav and the well, I mean Vedic tradition in general, no matter what religion you have, it's basically like meat eating and killing has to be done as part of the religious duty, or it's considered sinful. Whether it's your job as government or whatever, your job as government is your duty, but if it's not, it's supposed to be considered part of spiritual life some way or another. So if you're eating meat or whatever, or taking part in war, it can't just be some, oh, I want to taste meat, or oh, I want to whatever. And it has to be being done by the spiritual principles, means it's not just, oh, it's my religious right as a Christian to go conquer the world and do whatever I want with the world. You know, as people even write that on bathrooms. It's bad enough when you say it, but when you graffiti when you graffiti the bathroom, or leave the I don't just mean leaving Bible tracts. I mean people using markers and metal things to scratch things and all sorts of stuff, and it's like, yeah. And so the quadrant card, so another card that we would have, of course, is the Decan card. So the fourth card of the wands. Oh, and you might want to see, yeah, you see, I don't know who all is shown in the cards, but the magician, the narrative of some of these wars going on is completely different than reality, both past and present. And the world again, the world. I mean, in this thing that they put, I'm back to this Economist magazine and call it Planet Trumpers. But there's people in the stars and stuff. I'm not sure who all these people are, and I think they have a plan very specifically for what is about to happen. And the Hermit is the only card that aligns with what we have. And this Hermit card is, again, you have these people marching out to war. And just like an insight roll, as we're familiar with insight rolls to at least a degree here, they, it's not per se about which group you're involved in, it's what you're doing with that. There's a new word per se, and I know it's a long one. Was Chabo. And so that's the word for comet. And I'm not sure how etymologically it breaks down. I do know, for example, our words here, zims is fall, orizixis is another one, and pus is the fragment of the something to do with the feminine, maybe the feminine hero figure sort of thing. I don't remember exactly. I'm flipping through to find it. But if you have any ideas of what these cards are, or the meaning that you want to per se,
Okay. Always connected to the Hermit, feel something, thinking that within. That, that's a good card to meditate upon. I mean, I think nothing is for the Hermit. Thinking that within, bringing it out. The Magician, just war, huh?
Well, I mean, that's not one of the ones we're using here, but the Monday would be the Magician. So might as well tell you which cards are according to what day. So Monday would be the Magician, Tuesday would be the Tower, Wednesday. Oh wait, no, Monday would be the High Priestess. Wednesday would be the Magician. Thursday would be the Wheel of Fortune, and that actually shows up here. So if events happen exactly the days of the week that we're seeing mentioned in that series of 8 cards on that magazine cover, it's not going to be terribly surprising. And so we do have terms relating to liberal, and maybe you got a Joan of Arc sort of figure as far as the house. What? That's on that magazine, and you can look up online. And I know people have posted, but I know that it's so you got the Tower, the Judgment, the World, the Hermit, Death, Magician, Wheel of Fortune, and the Star. Because you look at night for the comet, then it does count for the Sunday. Because the day in the spiritual calendars, we are looking at the night before the day. And we have Tower, Judgment, World, Hermit, Death, Magician, Wheel of Fortune, the Star, and it says the World in 2017, Planet Trump. And I think there's stuff, it's there not only for people who understand the tarot, and it's modeled after Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's not, now a lot of that talk is exaggerated because Rider-Waite-Smith wasn't the Solobosca tarot did stuff. But as I said, so in order, the cards that I listed for the tarot calendar would be, well, I mean, in whatever order you want to have them. The day card would be the Sun. The Decan card would be the Four of Wands. The season cards would be the Ace of Cups, Princess of Cups, and the Hanged Man. The month cards would be the Prince of Wands and the Hermit.
Oh, right.
And so this is for the peak day of what is going on. And so one thing that people would look at that, did I say Alnu is the word for center? So ALNW. We don't have a separate letter sequence, or they don't look different as far as how I'm writing them in Lisbon. I don't know if I ever am. Right now, it's just, these are their sounds, and I'm spelling them out.
Oh, it's the previous refer to it as the ill language. Because I get tongue tied and trying to say,
I think that's part of the effect of the whole thing is that it does,
Yeah.
it's like some of the chants in some languages, it's like, I think people like Sanskrit because of the variety of sounds and what it does with that, and that's not the usual sound. The idea that it's more spiritual than other languages, I don't know. I think it has very secular had very secular use until people only learned it in scripture. Like they didn't call it Hebrew, for example, until only the Jews spoke it, so therefore it became the religious language. But back when it was a secular language, it was called Armea would be how you would pronounce it. So Aramaic was the language until only the Jews spoke it. We have that word for the fire. But where are we looking for the comet? So we're looking in Virgo. We're looking for Virgo for the comet, right? And so Virgo, again, the very fact that the Hermit shows up, and we'll just have to see how bright it gets, if it gets as big as, but the idea that its position, you can look around where the comet is, and it's actually represented on this magazine. It's something else. Um, World Magazine, just look up World Magazine. Well, oh wait, no, it wasn't World Magazine. That's what it keeps confusing me. Let me hold on. It's Economics Magazine, right? The Economist. The Economist, the world in 2017, Planet Trump is what they're calling it. And it's like the US presidents, they're responsible for their decisions, but no, Trump daddy is not going to save you. And no, he, even if he has good ideas, they have to, enough other people have to approve of them for things to get, but it's, better him leading the charge than some other people. That's just my position. And okay, so it's at perigee, so it's its closest point to Earth. Tsuchinshan-Atlas will reach its closest point to Earth at a distance of 0.46 astronomical units. So it'll be less than half the distance to Earth as the sun. And so it's going to get higher in the sky after that point. And and so we have, okay, I want to see, let's October 13th go. Because I think they said the 13th and 14th is going to be easier visibility days. I may have to refresh that. Okay. So the order of the planet, okay. So let me, oh, well, things are going to change here. So, but in general, we see Mercury in Virgo, Venus in Libra right now, Mars in Gemini, Jupiter in Taurus, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus. Oh, that's not. Okay, well, Mercury changes quite a bit. So if we look at Mercury and then going to the right with the sun, and when the sun, the Mercury sets and then the sun sets, and then you have Tsuchinshan-Atlas, or C 2023 A3, and so that's, you know, very close to the main lines of Virgo here. So it might it's right now being observed as 1.1, which is bright enough.
Right, that's correct.
But it will still be findable if you have good enough stuff for years to come. But you
Yeah.
know, it's just this point toward towards the end of the year where it fades.
This is the time that, I wish I had a telescope, so, that would be good.
Well, it's not going to need a telescope. So I'm not going to release this for a while, and I have not recorded it, but Saturday the 28th. So I was without power when this experience happened. But it says there was a sigil for the comet event in 2 weeks. I returned
Wow.
through a sound like an animal roar and a rushing waters to before,
Mhm.
you know, to a pulsing contented bliss that I sat in before recording this experience. And that's what you need to do when you have experiences like this. And let me show you what I've painted. I've painted a couple little flags, you could call them, for the event. So I'm going to try to meditate with it here. So you have that symbol that I showed you that has, it's like the downward pointing lines for the, the thing that it's not a triangle, but it's like open at the top. But then there's a line over, and it kind of reminds you of like some languages form for F. And then there's the moon thing, and then in the middle of that thing, there's those 3 dots. So that was shown before, but I my sense is the symbol should be in orange, and so I've sent you pictures of the symbol. So oh, so you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah, you've seen that before.
Down here on my paper, my notebook, and I'll transfer them to wood pieces. I'm finding 3 with clicking on them. I thought about rock, but then I was like, no, it needs to be wood.
Yeah, they have a weird way of showing it. Okay, so Mars and Jupiter are basically on the same side. Sort of the corner over is Saturn and Neptune. Uranus is like on the side of Jupiter. So what Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn. I'm trying to figure out them all here. Pluto, but Mercury and the Sun is going to be in Virgo. And so we're going to, it's also going to be the direction where we see the other from. So the comet itself is going to be, and they're showing some other comets that could be visible if you know where to look. 12P Pons Brooks. We're not sure if that's going to be visible. C 2022 E2 Atlas. 13P Ob. What is that one called? Ob.
They always name them such odd names, numbers.
Well, you kind of get stuck with the same with different ones here. So the rise of the Mercury is going to be eight, depending on where you are. I'm choosing a different location from either of us, but Monday on 8:16 a.m. is the next time it rises. Monday at 10:20 a.m. is the next time Venus rises. Monday at 12:12 a.m. is the next time Mars rises. When we're looking at, I'm just looking on the 13th. So, yeah, okay, yeah. So it's below the horizon. Jupiter the Monday at 9:58. Saturn the Sunday at 5:15. Uranus at 8:24. Neptune at 5:59. Of course, past Saturn, it's going to be very difficult to see. And let me. One thing that has came up that you may have noticed in recent programs, recent chants, is this attention to the fall, this attention to something about the fall. And so I keep on being drawn to this. It's like something about this fall. And at the very least, they're panicking, trying to make sure the war. So what might this, I said that there's 3 dots. The dots can be equal length. The graphic, I think they're a little bit off when you see my altered tarot card star thing. And if anybody knows who these people are in the pictures there, it probably says in the it probably talks about them in the magazine. Okay, and I have to look up the. Oh, do I say go? Oh, it keeps on giving me current. I don't want current. I want a different day.
So hard to find there. I have to dig for proof,
Well, it's very difficult to find, and the point is it's like what's the saying? The sage directs the oracle; he doesn't consult it. So you know what you believe, you know what what you know about, and you're trying to use these symbols to kind of go with the flow, and then kind of connect to something more along the lines of what you want to happen or what should happen, or trying to align you with whatever is going to happen.
Thank you. I feel dark time, I keep feeling that. I feel it when, I don't get into chance to, but when I do, I feel it's a dark time I feel. It's a little bit unsettling. It's an unsettling feeling. Like, what's that? What is that? The world.
Well, and I found it, I find it interesting that yeah, I mean, the comet, well, people generally don't wanna talk about comets because comets are usually seen as something bad, and it's like, well, it's again how you use stuff. If a comet hits, it could be pretty bad. Remember that thing that happened in 2000, what was it, not let me see what day it was. Okay, yeah, the Tunguska event. It was between 3 and 50 megatons. So that kind of reminds you of what may happen the morning of June 30th, 1908, kind of reminds you what could happen with these words.
Oh, there's a feeling as a to my thoughts as the dark time. It's a very sad feeling and feeling. Because I'm talking about far, not not this message, really say just in the near future. Next year or not too. I don't like it. No.
Okay, it looks like um I may be able to show the a horoscope chart. Oh no, I do not know where okay, I'm not seeing um let me
Just a few days.
so we have our official chart here, and so we have the sun in Mercury, let's just say 12 degrees. Well, I mean, 12 out of 30. Um, and we have Lilith again, 4 degrees into Virgo. The lunar mode. Oh, I forget which one. Is it the 2 dots up? It's that one. Is that the the no, I think that's okay. I'm gonna look that up. I've south node of the moon. I mean, when I do a ritual, if I post a ritual, I may not post a ritual, but this is, just laying down some things. Okay. There's a little picture here, and okay. The north node, yeah, that is the north node.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. So the north node would be 28 degrees Leo. And 23 degrees Leo would be what is the vertex? And Mars would be 13 degrees Gemini. Uranus would be 19 degrees Aries. Chiron would be 14 degrees Pisces. The south node of the moon would be 28 degrees Aquarius. Neptune would be 20 degrees Aquarius. 6 degrees Aquarius would be Saturn. The moon would be 8 degrees Capricorn. Pluto would be 22 degrees. What's the term? 22 degrees Sagittarius. Fortune would be, we're listing some of the larger asteroids and stuff. Fortune would be 21 degrees Sagittarius. Venus would be 17 degrees Libra, and Mercury would be 21 degrees Virgo. Oh, and I might as well say, we can leave the minutes for this second part. So what the moon is reflective. So the reflective of the devil. So you figure out something. I mean, this is something that anybody can think of as, so what signs are we seeing secondhand of something that is chosen bondage, or chosen, it's not always where it should be, but it can be. So we're looking for secondhand signs of that sort of stuff. If we look at the sun, the sun being in Virgo, so the power of self-control. So reputation, part of the issue with people's reputation is largely not what they're capable of or whatever. It's that they didn't, they're not the master of themselves. And Mercury, as you can say, is sort of the magician figure, and you put him in Virgo. So a lot of people, like, you may have noticed somebody's comment on one of my videos, and it's like, the point is not some magical show of powers that you show off to everybody else. And honestly, what they show on the movies, there's more profound than that, but it's not empirical in that sense, that there's some of these experiences that transcend anything that you've ever seen in your life, or could imagine. And
there's no way to be able to, video that. It's in the experience, it's in the within. And you just can't, no, you don't want to take a picture of me, or you want to take a picture of a being. So it's like that. It's for me.
yeah, that's exactly what people said. So the lunar nodes, which one's which, right? Okay, so you refer things to the past and the present. I don't always know all these things off the top of my head, so I'm just going back here. And you're free to throw in some of your own meaning.
I'm glad you're there. I can explain a little. A little. So like I was saying,
So what is this? The south, the south is the past, and the other one's the future. Okay, so let's go there. So the past, um, there can be because the lunar mode is in Pisces. It's like it said that you're a past. They go after you to hit you with illusion and delusions about your past and your future. So that's one of the things is so that lunar mode, the south mode is maybe a bit confused, and the north mode, um, it can be a bit shut off. And what is this?
Yeah, but when you get confused, I
There is things beyond, there are circumstances established beyond people's control or whatever. So again, but your original constitutional position, if we're taking things to Leo, is again, there is a strength that you can have power over. So perhaps there's something you can perfect. So somebody should perhaps perfect something. And if you have Lilith in the thing, because people think of the dark mode as like like the wrong side or whatever, but sometimes it's the right side. Sometimes, um, you know, and Venus is on a balanced position. So, you know, develop things, but you need to be balanced when you develop things. Mars, ends up in Gemini. So do we want to say that there needs to be, in order to approach a conflict, in order to find power, you either need to work with other people or you need to find something productive with it. Like, for example, Gemini is sometimes, in a lot of cultures, probably most cultures, depicted Gemini as a voluptuous woman in the sky. So it's and the main constellations were not necessarily the series of 12. You had the man, the woman, and you had Orion would be the man, and then you had the dogs, and you had animals that they encountered out in nature, and it made a lot of sense that some other systems don't always make sense. Jupiter, we put that into Taurus, and that was so Taurus is sort of a teacher, and it's sort of a working animal as much as anything else. It's that heavy duty work gets done, but sometimes people need to uh, play some role in that for you. It doesn't mean that you're like, oh, great guru, and pray to the guru and wash his feet and all that stuff. You don't have to do that to accomplish that. But sometimes, you know, I I like to be very direct about my interpretations and stuff, but that doesn't mean I don't read secondhand stuff and think to myself, oh wait, that conclusion, I never thought of that, and that makes sense. And I only encountered it because I read secondary material and I agreed with the conclusion. Chiron's sort of the healer, are sort of you got something wounded, and so with the problems of life, with the illusion and delusion, the tricks that people are playing, some of that does affect you, and it does affect you forever. And that's like okay, but the fact is that but you get beyond it. You help yourself. You get others past it. You don't be because people are like, oh, when I was your age, it's like, but you got to do it in a certain way. I somebody's mother made sure that I got back in touch with her daughter, and it was like, but the advice that she was giving this woman was along the lines of, it's like, oh, don't tell somebody that you got your life together when you were 10 years older than that. They need to get their life together now or they could die. And they were close to it about 10 times between those two periods of their life. And it's like, but you can say, hey, I made mistakes, I learned from 'em. Don't make my mistakes. Don't, or I figured out a way to now we can't talk medicine and stuff too much on this channel or something like that because but and Neptune, remember that's been sort of the symbol. Neptune is sort of the weapon, the unconscious weapon, the weapon of the side that maybe people aren't quite aware with, and that puts itself, in Aquarius. So Aquarius is again, so something's about could happen that changes, that sort of cleanses society, Cole's society, whatever. They're talking about doing that, but it's not actually a cleansing their walk. They want to leave themselves in their holes, basically. So that's maybe not the thing. Maybe another interpretation, but there's stuff out there that people are working towards. So Saturn, again would also be in Aquarius, and Saturn, maybe that's the best position of the wheel to have it in if you're going to do something symbolic. But it's a very earth card, but a very a processing. So people, it is a time to consider what needs to be stored materially and all that other stuff. I have talked about repeatedly on this channel, I've talked about elsewhere, that one of the things we need to do right now is prepare ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually to survive and to thrive. And some of that means like, some of the stuff, maybe there's a text you want or whatever, some stuff. Be prepared to have things censored on social media so you can't see them unless you have copies, and be prepared to not buy these things, and be prepared perhaps not to have electricity. And so how are you going to be guided with that? And what if people take you and put you whatever, have an idea of spiritual techniques, of a chant, and of course we have our seasonal chant here, but I have different chants that I've used and certain times that I've recommended. From Chabatrelix was Chabo, Gizi, Zims, Rafi, Urizixis, Ska, Alnu, Hus, would of course be the chant that's going to be connected to this thing again. And so Pluto is as much as anything the beyond one's own life. So Pluto being in a position of Sagittarius, so you have a goal. So you seek out your legacy. You want to have an effect on the world beyond your life, beyond what's important to you, these aeonic goals, as some groups are going to call them. And Fortune, okay.
That's really good. I literally got an idea, a very good, I guess, idea from you.
So my ideas when this happens is,
I absolutely agree with you about
so it's called the spot of harmony. And so the spot of harmony in this reading is given again to Sagittarius, the sign of the quest, the sign of the art card. And to give everything down in how many minutes are listed, we have Venus, which is listed with 58 minutes. Mercury, 25, Sun, 59, Lilith, 40, North Mode, 44, Vertex, 0, Mars, 46, Jupiter, 19, 34 for Uranus, Chiron, 17, South Mode, 44, Neptune, 55, Saturn, 38, Moon, 48, Pluto 3826 for fortune, and fortune's not a real spot, just like Rahu and Ketu are actually the lunar nodes. So that's another thing here because you got the head and the tail. So as I said, these are just, it's just a framework of things that you can do stuff with. And if there's any closing thought to this.
Looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, I plan to take those flags outside and use the chant and to you know, and then be one of those things that I store away, at least one for myself, and find someone to give one, and that's going to be, you know, sort of marking that. Just like my flags for the eclipse for two of the eclipse events, the bigger ones that have been for my lifetime, really. And they're probably going to be the biggest ones in my lifetime. So yeah. So this one, the biggest comet event, with its symbol and the chant's not on the flag, but you know.